So chapter 6 was another one of my favorite favorite chapters, and I dug into, I would say, one of the things that impacted me. It set my mind at ease for my business. It set my mind at ease for my personal finances, especially as I was digging myself out. And it's the ability to measure. So I think a financial statement is paramount to having peace of mind when it comes to your finances. And if you're a business owner, early on in business, I measured the success of my business based on a bank account. Now with, accounting and, controller and CFO help, you're able to look objectively at a business and determine its health. And if you look at, the previous chapters talking about Wall Street and how public companies have all of their finances disclosed, those that really understand financial statements can see both opportunities for how a company can grow and how to invest in them. But similar, there are many people that bought into Enron and bought into just whatever the financial analysts were saying about Enron's doing this and they're doing this, and you should buy, you should hold, it's a stable company. But if you understood the finances behind the scenes, their financial statement looked atrocious and it kept getting worse. So there's two types of people: those that understood that financial statement and were able to either short the company or sell and avoid loss, or those that believed the analysts, believed the professionals and what they were saying and what they should do, which is to hold on. And we all know what happened. Well, if you don't know what happened with Enron, there's a documentary about that one too. The smartest guys in the room, and through that documentary, you'll see whether that statement is true or not. But I look at chapter 6, and this is really opening up having a financial statement. Even if you're an employee or even a really small business owner, have a financial statement, something that you can use to measure where you're at right now. But also, it helps you determine, based on some of the things I recommended in the previous chapters. If you know what your results are, if you know the outcome that you want, now if you objectively measure where you're at now, and then make assumptions as to where you would have to be in the future based on those results, it helps you start to plot a course. Now, it's not going to be a straight line, similar to a flight. Okay, you're going to weave in and out, and this is going to happen. The economy is going to change, but at least it gives you a starting point and an ending point so that you can navigate better. Now, another thing that I bring up that I talk about in more detail in later chapters is the human capital statement. The human capital statement was something I learned, and it has benefited me more than the actual financial statement. Because the human capital statement is the mirror to your financial statement, because money is the result of something, and it's the result of you. The assets that you've accumulated are the result of you being disciplined to save and you actually creating value in the first place. Because if you have money, it's proof that somebody paid you for your value. And that ultimately winds up either being spent or it winds up on your financial statement in the form, or balance sheet in the form of an asset or a liability. So looking at, how to perceive your human capital statement, it's your assets are what you're good at, the ways in which you can leverage who you are to create value for others. And the mirror is the financial statement, which measures the income, measures the assets. Liabilities is where it's really fascinating, because liabilities, most people, as I said in the previous chapter, they steer away from debt, from liabilities, from owing people something. But I think that's because of how we, again, have been brought up in the educational system that we're in, even the business environment that we're in. Because you look at, you know, how we're taught to work as an individual, that we're taught that an individual succeeds, but individuals are limited. We don't have uh, all strengths in every single area: math, science, biology, arts. We're not wired that way. I think we're wired to have strengths in certain areas. And I believe that's the case because other people have strengths in the areas that we don't have strengths in. And that allows us to understand that liabilities can be good because you're paying somebody else to do something that you're not good at. That's ultimately what I consider a human capital liability, because you have them, I have them. And the more you focus on your assets, what you're good at, what you're strong at, the more you can realize those strengths and assets in other people and start to pay them for their expertise, freeing time up for you to focus on your expertise. So there's a couple things I reference in the book, whether it's Myers-Briggs or Colby or DISC or Strengths Finders. There's so much technology out there today that helps to help. Oh, there's another one too, a culture index, which I think is fascinating. I did that recently, but it helps to narrow you in on your strengths and what you can start to focus on. And I guarantee two things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to be happier. Number two, if you can really figure out how those strengths relate to business and providing value to others, which it always does, but it's up to you to discover that. That is where the most money is going to come from. Okay, let's get to chapter 7.